Right. Thanks for joining us for the lockdown football quiz. Mad times we're in at the moment, eh? So we've got to do something to try and pass the time. So I've decided to come up with a quiz. I actually came up with it a couple of weeks ago when I was having a kickabout on Wandsworth Common with some of my Sunday League team. And we decided pre-lockdown, obviously, we weren't breaking any regulations. We decided that the best thing to do was have a quiz when things got a bit more self-isolating. So I've been running this quiz for a couple of weeks now, and it seems to have gone okay. No major disputes or anything like that. So if you're playing with your mates, which would be great, on WhatsApp, Zoom, or House Party, whatever it is, that's great. If you're playing it on your own, well, you're not on your own because we're all here at the moment. And you'll be competing against my Sunday League team. About 6 or 7 of them, actually no more, about 9 or 10 of them played this quiz the other week. And so you'll be competing against them. I'll give you the scores and what you've got to beat to win it, and what have you've got to beat to not finish bottom. So there's going to be 10 rounds of 5 questions each, and I'll give you the answers every 2 rounds. And there'll be 10 different subjects for each round. So 50 questions, 50 points on offer. The winner of this first quiz from a Sunday League team the other week was Greeny, who's a bit of a holding midfield player, massive Blackburn Rovers fan, and clearly a football nut. He got 32 out of 50, but he won it by 8 points. So really, it's not a good marker. If you're getting 32, that's brilliant. But the 2 lads who finished in second place got 24 out of 50. So I'd say if you beat 24 out of 50, you're a winner. And they were Banzai and Flan, who are very good players who've been playing for the Heroes. They're in the veteran stage of their career at the moment. Bit of salt and pepper on top, like myself, and they've been playing for a long time, and they know their footy. And they got 24 out of 50. Now the 2 lads who brought up the rear were Mark, who's actually, that's my brother-in-law. He's not even in the Heroes of Waterloo, my Sunday League team. Very good golfer, but he's not your go-to man for football. And Bobby, who from County Durham, top lad, he's probably the most consistently best football player we've had at the Heroes of Waterloo, rather, down the years. So in that sense, you'd rather be a good footballer than a good at quizzes, weren't you? So Bobby's sound, and he got 17 points. So that's the scoring system. What we're going to do is give you the answers every 2 rounds. There's going to be a beer break or refreshment break at the end of round 4, so you can get to the fridge and get yourself a drink. It's a quick one, literally the time it gets to come back and open a can of special brew. We're not having any cocktails or any of that nonsense. And then at the end of round 6, for the sort of older players, there's going to be a toilet break for all the slack bladders amongst you. The last thing we have to say is don't cheat. Obviously, if there's a group of you playing, or even if you're playing on your own, we're on the internet, aren't we? So you can look up all the answers. What's the point? I mean, that just shows that you're good at looking up things on the internet. So don't cheat. Society is back after all. We're all in this together. So be honest. Don't have a look. And that's pretty much it. So let's get going on this. We are going to start with round 1, which is the 1992-93 Premier League season. So here we go. This is quite a common quiz question to start off with. So just to break you in easily, who scored the first ever goal, the first ever Premier League goal in the 92-93 season? Obviously, football existed long before that, blah, blah, blah. But the first ever Premier League goal, who scored that? That's question number 1. Question number 2, name the top 3 in the order in which they finished. So you have to get all 3, the top 3 in the 1992-93 Premier League, in the order they finished. Question 3, name the top Premier League scorer that season. Who was the league's leading scorer in the 92-93 season? And question number 4, Who was the manager of Everton in the 1992-93 season? Who was the manager of Everton? And the fifth question, question number 5. Which ground did Middlesbrough play at in the 1992-93 season? Which ground did Middlesbrough play at in the 1992-93 season? So I'll run through all those questions again. Who scored the first ever Premier League goal? Question 2, name the top 3 sides in the order they finished. Question 3, name the league's leading scorer that season. Question 4, who was the manager of Everton? And question 5, which ground did Middlesbrough play at? Now, if I can work this, I'll do some shout outs. Slip of the tongue there. I'm not technologically advanced, to say the least, so I'll try and do some shout outs, but let's walk before we can run, eh? That's round number 1. Round number 2 is the Maradona film that was on the other week. Now, I must admit, when I first did this quiz for my Sunday League lads, it was the day after the Maradona film was shown, so it was a bit more fresh in the mind. So if you're having a stinker and you are struggling, don't worry about this. You might not get a single question right in this round, but give it a go anyway. So this is Maradona, round number 2. Question number 1. What year did Napoli win their first Scudetto with Maradona? I'm already seeing people in the live chat are sending a couple of answers. Nice one. Question number 2. Now, I'll take a few vowels or consonants different on this. What was the name of the mafia family who befriended Maradona during his time in Naples? The Camorra family who befriended Maradona. What was the name of that family? I'll give up to, if it sounds roughly phonetically like the name of the family, you can have a point for that. Question number 3. What was the name of Maradona's longtime girlfriend who turned into his wife? Well, she didn't turn into his wife. She became his wife during his time at Naples. What was the name of Maradona's longtime girlfriend cum wife? Question number 4. Name the 4 trophies that Maradona won with Napoli. He won 4 trophies with Napoli. Can you name them all? And question number 5. Again, I'll give you a few words either side of this. If you get the gist of the phrase, you have a point for this. What did the banner on the town cemetery say after Napoli won their first Scudetto? What did the banner on the town cemetery say after Napoli won their first Scudetto? Paul Berry's messaged in to say he's struggling here. Yeah, it's a hard round, this. I'll just run through the 5 questions again. Most people will struggle on this because it wasn't fresh in the memory, all that sort of stuff. So question 1, what year did Napoli win their first Scudetto? Question 2, what was the name of the mafia family who befriended Maradona? Question 3, what was the name of his longtime girlfriend cum wife? Question 4, name the 4 trophies he won with Napoli. And question 5, what did the banner on the town cemetery say after the first Scudetto? Alan Bentley's messaged in to say, can we do a round on Midsummer Murders? I'll try and work that into a subsequent quiz, Al. But for this quiz, we'll keep it to football. So you've got 2 rounds there. done. So I'll give you the scores from the Heroes of Waterloo, the Sunday League team that you're competing against. The top score after 2 rounds was 7 points. Tomo and Greeny got 7 points. So let's go through the answers now and see how you're getting on. Now, I'll give you another 30 seconds or so. I did toy with a bit of background music, but I wasn't sure if that would be distracting or an annoying rather than something to fill the dead air, as Alan Partridge would say. Put your own music on if you want something in the background. Right, here are the answers. Are we ready for this? Who scored the first ever Premier League goal? The answer is Brian Deane. Name the top 3 in the order they finished. 1 to 3, Manchester United, Aston Villa, and Norwich City. Question number 3, name the top scorer in the Premier League that season. Teddy Sheringham. Question number 4, who was the manager of Everton? That was Howard Kendall. And question number 5, which ground did Middlesbrough play at? That was Ayresome Park. Round number 2, the Maradona round. What year did Napoli win their first Scudetto? That was 1986-87. Question 2, what was the name of the mafia family who befriended him? They were the Giuliano family. I'll take anything that sounds roughly like that. Question 3, what was the name of his long-time girlfriend, wife? That was Claudia. Question 4, name the 4 trophies Maradona won with Napoli. He won 2 league titles, 1 UEFA Cup, and 1 Coppa Italia rather. And what did the banner on the town's cemetery say after the first Scudetto? If you got something in the region of this, I'll give it you. The banner said, "You don't know what you missed." So that's the first 10 questions. If you're playing against my Sunday League lads, and you just had 1 point, so don't worry if you've not got many points. Andy Corman has messaged in to say, is that a Benin shirt in the background? Yeah, that one there. The orange one is in fact a Benin shirt. I give him massive points, kudos for that, but I can't. But fair play, he's got a Benin shirt out of that. Well done, lad. Right, round number 3 is Leicester City 2015-16. So it's Leicester City 2015-16. Shout out to Mike Adamson, who got 6 out of 10. He's just 1 behind the leader there. Well done, fella. So this is Leicester City 2015-16. And the first question, so it's the year they won the league effectively. Name one of the 2 songs Andrea Bocelli sang at the trophy ceremony, stood next to Claudio Ranieri. Just name one of the 2 songs he sung. Question 1, name one of the 2 songs that Andrea Bocelli sang as he stood next to Claudio Ranieri at the trophy ceremony. Question 2, how many points did Leicester City win the league by? How many points did Leicester City win the league by? Question number 3, Who played at left back for the majority of that season? So obviously they had a few players filled in at that position. Who was the principal left back for that season? Stewie Silvers has messaged in taking up Andy Corman's shirt identification to say that former Sheffield Wednesday favourite Reader Johnson is a Benin international. Might write that down for a future question. Right, question number 4. Who was the captain who lifted the Premier League trophy for Leicester that season? Who was the captain who lifted the Premier League trophy for Leicester that season? And question number 5. Jamie Vardy scored in a record number of consecutive Premier League matches. How many games in a row did he score in? So how many games in a row did Jamie Vardy score in to break a Premier League record of consecutive matches? So that's round number 3. Round number 4 coming up. And round number 4 is last season. Joe Floyd 21 says, geez, this quiz is hard. Playing with my husband, Matt. It is hard, but it's all relative, isn't it? You're playing against a bang average Sunday League team, and they're not high scorers. So you just have to, you're competing against them. You're not competing against every single question, getting it right. Crack on, keep the faith. It might get easier. Right, so round number 4 is last season. So it should be fresh in the memory. Round number 4 is last season. A big chance to pick up points. And question number 1. Cardiff, Fulham and Huddersfield went down from the Premier League. Who finished 4th bottom? Cardiff, Fulham and Huddersfield got relegated from the Premier League. Who finished 4th bottom? Question number 2. How many managerial changes were made in the Premier League during the season? In the Premier League, how many managerial changes were made during the season? Question number 3. Who was Arsenal's kit manufacturer? Who was Arsenal's kit manufacturer? Question number 4. Which club recorded the biggest home attendance? Which club recorded the biggest home attendance? Steve Phillips, no relation, has messaged in to say, are they Puma Kings in the background? But he's probably not going to win a kit identification quiz there. They're not Puma Kings, no. Maybe if you make... Yeah, if we put them a bit upside down, they'd probably look like Puma Kings. Anyway, where were we? Question 4, yeah, we've done that. Which club recorded the biggest attendance at home last season? Question 5, which club changed their manager in the Premier League more than once? One Premier League club last season changed their manager more than once? Who was that? So that's 10 questions done there for Leicester City in the 2015-16 season. And round number 4 was last season. So I'll give you another 30 seconds or so. Do the answers. Tommy Smith has messaged in, are they Wayne Hennessy's gloves? Just a stab in the dark. Amazing. Tommy's spot on. They are Wayne Hennessy's gloves. Well done, mate. Right. Let's do the answers for rounds 3 and 4 if you're ready for this. Question number 1. Name one of the songs Andrea Bocelli sang at the trophy ceremony with Claudio Ranieri. You could have either Nessun Dorma or Conte Partiro, which translates as time to say goodbye. So if you've got time to say goodbye, that's great. Or Conte Partiro. And Nessun Dorma is the other one. How many points did Leicester City win the league by? 10 points. Leicester City won the league by 10 points. Steve Phillips has been back in touch with a very amusing comment about Wayne Hennessy's gloves, but probably can't go into that for FA disciplinary reasons. Question number 3. Who was the principal left back for Leicester City that season? It was Christian Fuchs. Who was the captain who lifted the Premier League trophy? That was Wes Morgan. And question number 5, when Jamie Vardy scored a record number of consecutive matches, how many games did he score in? He scored in 11 games in a row. And on to round number 4. Cardiff, Fulham and Huddersfield were all, this is last season, Cardiff, Fulham and Huddersfield all went down from the Premier League last season. 4th bottom were Brighton and Hove Albion. Question number 2, how many managerial changes were made during last season in the Premier League? The answer is 6. Question number 3, who was Arsenal's kit manufacturer? That was Puma. Question number 4, which club recorded the biggest home attendance? That was Tottenham Hotspur, of course, at Wembley Stadium. And question number 5, which club changed their manager more than once in the Premier League? And that was Fulham. So they're the answers for the first 4 rounds. You're competing against the Sunday League team, remember. Greeny was way out in front on 15 points after 4 rounds last season. Last week when we did the quiz. But more realistically, you're in a winning position if you can match or better Flan's 11 points. If you're on 11 out of 20 or better, you are flying. James Kent's fine. He's on 14 out of 20. I'm liking his worth, as is Guy Barlow, flying on 13 out of 20. And John Ashmore, just one behind Flan on 10 out of 20. Right. As promised, there is a short drinks break. I say short, we're talking 30 seconds to a minute. Don't be mixing anything stupid. And I'll see you back for round number 5. Right. So we've done the first 4 rounds. Round number 5 is Roy Hodgson. Round number 5 is Roy Hodgson. Question number 1. How many clubs has he managed? How many club sides has Roy Hodgson managed? Question number 2. How many countries has Roy Hodgson managed? How many countries has Roy Hodgson managed? Russ Taylor asks, what prize money do we get? If he'd logged in from the start, he'd know the answer to that, but stay on anyway, Russ. How many countries has Roy Hodgson managed? Question number 3, Roy Hodgson took Fulham to their highest ever Premier League finish. He took Fulham to their highest ever Premier League finish. What place was that? What place in the Premier League did they get to? And question number 4, who did Roy Hodgson leave to become England manager? Who did Roy Hodgson leave to become manager of England? And the final Roy Hodgson question, which German side beat Hodgson's Inter Milan on penalties in the 1997 UEFA Cup final? Which German side beat Hodgson's Inter Milan on penalties in the 1997 UEFA Cup final? Right. Round number 5. Sorry, that was round number 5. Round number 6 is Scottish football grounds. Round number 6 is Scottish football grounds. Who plays, question 1, who plays at Palmerston Park? Who plays at Palmerston Park? Question number 2, who plays at Pittodrie? Who plays at Pittodrie? Question number 3, who plays at Britain's most northerly league ground called Victoria Park? Who plays at Britain's most northerly league ground at Victoria Park? Question number 4, where do Queen's Park play? Where do Queen's Park play? And question number 5, Stair Park is Scotland's most westerly ground. Who plays there? Stair Park is Scotland's most westerly ground. Who plays there? John Barber's messaged in to say he once met an England international on the train on his way back from playing at Palmerston Park. Loving that, John. So that's round 5 and round 6. We'll go through the answers. And then you can have another short break. Pete Carwell's messaged in to say he's playing it on a Zoom chat. Ollie's on 10 out of 20 so far, and Robin is on 7 out of 10. So clearly a delay on that Zoom chat as well, if Robin is 2 rounds behind. Here's the answers anyway for round number 5. Roy Hodgson. How many clubs has he managed? He has managed 16 clubs. Round number 2. How many countries has he managed? He has managed 4 countries. Question number 3. He took Fulham to their highest ever Premier League finish. What place was it? It was 7th place. Question 4. Who did Roy Hodgson leave to become England manager? It was West Bromwich Albion. And question number 5. Which German side beat Roy Hodgson's Inter Milan on penalties in the 1997 UEFA Cup final? It was Schalke 04. Schalke 04. Right, round number 6, Scottish football grounds. Who plays at Palmerston Park? The answer is Queen of the South, Dumfries's finest football team. Question number 2, who plays at Pittodrie? The answer is Aberdeen. Question number 3, who plays at Britain's most northerly league ground, Victoria Park? That's Ross County. Question number 4, where do Queen's Park play? That is Hampden Park. Queen's Park play at Hampden Park. And question number 5, Stair Park is Scotland's most westerly ground. Who plays there? The answer is Stranraer. So that's 6 rounds. And remember, you're competing against my Sunday League team. The leader after 6 rounds was Greeny. He had 20 points. Don't be put off by that. He had a freakishly high score. So perhaps more realistically, if you want to be in the lead, you need to be on the same amount or ahead of Flan and Luke, who got 13 points after 6 rounds. 13 points. If you're 13 points out of 20, you're flying. Sorry, 30. 13 points out of 30. 13 points out of 30. Plenty of you on 13 out of 30. Paul Berry amongst them. Christian Cotter's got 14 out of 30. And Dave Watt has got 15 out of 30. Good standard, this, lads. Well done. And ladies. Although we've not had many women's scores through. Joe Lloyd needs to get back in touch. Joe Floyd even. Oh, she's on 15 out of 30. Well done. 15 out of 30 for Joe Floyd. Right, there's going to be a short toilet break here. I say about a minute. We'll call it a minute. And then we'll crack on with the final 4 rounds. Right, we're going to start the last two rounds in a sec. Sorry, last four rounds in a sec. Shout out to Billy McGinty, who's got 14 points so far. That would put him in the lead. Billy is actually a Heroes of Waterloo footballer, but he didn't play in the other quiz last week, but that will put him in the lead of his own team's football quiz. Well done, Billy. Andy Corman's back in, another Heroes of Waterloo footballer who didn't play last week. He's on 17 out of 30. He's absolutely flying. He, of course, was the man who successfully identified the Benin shirt. Definitely knows his stuff. Rosendale TV is playing with Helen on 10 out of 30, and he's also given a public health announcement saying make sure you sing while washing your hands. So fair play to Rosendale TV there, who's given his score and also kept on top of the current situation with a public health message. Thanks, Rosendale. Right, round number 7. Russ Taylor's, before Russ Taylor intervenes, he said, Wick Academy, is that not the most northern team, Johnny? Quite right, it is the most northern team, but we said specifically in the question, Ross, that we're looking for the most northerly league ground, and Wick Academy are non-league. But it was a fair point to make, mate, but they're non-league. So let's crack on. Round number 7, hat-tricks. Sadio Mane scored the fastest Premier League hat-trick in how many minutes and 56 seconds? How many minutes and 56 seconds? Sadio Mane scored the fastest Premier League hat-trick in how many minutes and 56 seconds? Question number 2. How many hat-tricks did Steve Bull, the greatest centre forward the world has ever seen, score for Wolverhampton Wanderers? How many hat-tricks did Steve Bull score for Wolverhampton Wanderers? It might be a good opportunity to come clean here. There will be a question relating to Steve Bull in every single week that this quiz goes on. So get your Steve Bull stats up to scratch for next week if you weren't expecting a question about Bully this week. Question number 3. Who scored a hat-trick for England at the 1986 World Cup? Who scored a hat-trick for England at the 1986 World Cup? Question number 4. Who scored the first ever Premier League hat-trick? The first ever Premier League era hat-trick. Who scored that? And question number 5. Who scored the most recent Premier League hat-trick? Who was the last player prior to the lockdown to score a Premier League hat-trick? Right, round number 8. Round number 8. Is autobiographies. Round number 8 is autobiographies. Who wrote Sober? Whose autobiography was called Sober? Question number 2. Who wrote How to Be a Footballer? Who wrote How to Be a Footballer? Question number 3. Who wrote How Not to Be a Professional Footballer? Who wrote How Not to Be a Professional Footballer? Question number 4. Who wrote 5 league titles and a packet of crisps? 5 league titles and a packet of crisps. And question number 5. Who wrote The Man in the Middle, whose autobiography was called The Man in the Middle? So we'll do the answers now for the last 10 questions. We'll do the answers for hat tricks and the answers for autobiographies. We're in the home straight now, folks. So are you ready for the answers? He asks a computer screen that can't talk back. Let's start with the hat tricks. Sadio Mane scored the fastest Premier League hat trick in how many minutes and 56 seconds? It was 2 minutes and 56 seconds. 2 minutes and 56 questions. Sorry, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Question number 2. How many hat tricks did Steve Bull score for Wolves? The answer is 18. 18 hat tricks for Wolves. I know, just brilliant, isn't it? What a player. Absolutely phenomenal. Question number 3. Who scored a hat trick for England at the 1986 World Cup? That was Gary Lineker. Question number 4. Who scored the first ever Premier League hat trick? That was Eric Cantona. And question number 5. Who scored the most recent Premier League hat trick? That was Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero scored the most recent Premier League hat trick. Round number 8 is autobiographies. And Paul Berry has messaged in again to say he's disappointed in the lack of a Carl Ikeme question here. He's quite right. Paul Berry co-authored Carl Ikeme's brilliant autobiography, which is called Why Not Me, available online. Amazon will still deliver you as well in these days, and all good bookstores rather when they reopen. So get a copy of Carl Ikeme's autobiography. It's not the answer to any of these questions though. Question number 1, Sober. That was written by Tony Adams. Tony Adams wrote Sober. Question number 2, How to Be a Footballer was written by Peter Crouch. Peter Crouch wrote How to Be a Footballer. Question number 3, How Not to Be a Footballer. Sorry, How Not to Be a Professional Footballer was written by Paul Merson. Question number 3, How Not to Be a Professional Footballer was written by Paul Merson. Question number 4, 5 league titles and a packet of crisps. 5 league titles and a packet of crisps. That was Steve Nicol, former Liverpool and Sheffield Wednesday star. 5 league titles and a packet of crisps. And question number 5, The Man in the Middle was written by Howard Webb. The Man in the Middle was written by Howard Webb. So, after 8 rounds, the Sunday League team you're playing against, Greeny led the way with 26 points, but ignore that score. It was ridiculously high compared to the rest of them. So I'd say 18. If you're on 18 or better, you're a winner. Mark Kamaski, massive Coventry City fan, flamehead centre midfielder with a questionable temperament, but a huge Coventry City fan. He had 18 out of 40. And for me, if you're on 18 out of 40, that's a winning score. James Wynn is flying. He's on 26 out of 40. John Ashmore's on 18 out of 40. James Kent's on 25 out of 40. That is quality. David Watt is on 18 out of 40. Rob Harris, 22. John Babb, 21. There's some proper scores here, lads and lasses. Well done. So the final 2 rounds to come, if you're ready and good. Richard Gillam, big Evertonian, part of the Everton heritage, me to say. He's on 14 out of 40. That's all right, Rich. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think there might even be an Everton question coming up in this round as well, which I'd be very disappointed if you don't get right. Farrell Monk is on 26. 26. He's flying out of 40. That's brilliant. And Pete Carville, who's part of the London Wolves, has said the 3 he's playing with are on 8, 13 and 18. So they're all still in the game. And Martin Saville, playing up in Huddersfield, who's really enjoying his homeschooling at the moment. He's on 17 out of 40. Well done, Sav. Right. Here we go. Round number 9 is shirt sponsors. Round number 9 is shirt sponsors. Name Leeds United sponsor when they won the league title in the 91-92 season. Name Leeds United's sponsor when they won the league title in the 91-92 season. Question number 2. Name Manchester City's sponsor last season. Sponsors of Manchester City last season, please. Graham Elliott, 14 out of 40. It's all right, mate. Very respectable. Matthew Moore, 20 out of 40. Seriously good score in this. Right, question number 3. Name the local tyre factory who sponsored Wolverhampton Wanderers in the 1990s. Name the local tyre factory who sponsored Wolverhampton Wanderers in the 1990s. Crawford Miles fancies his chances on shirt sponsors. Massive Evertonian. Big friend of Soccer Saturday as well is Crawf. Question number 4. Who were Blackburn Rovers shirt sponsors when they won the title in the 94-95 season? Who were Blackburn Rovers sponsors when they won the 1994-95 league title? And question number 5. Name the Danish processed ham firm who sponsored Everton in the 1980s. Name the Danish ham firm who sponsored Everton in the 1980s. Right, round number 10, the final round of the quiz is derbies. Round number 10 is derbies. Question number 1. Who contests the M23 derby? Which 2 teams contest the M23 derby? Question number 2. Which derby is geographically the closest in the UK? Which 2 teams live closest to each other in the United Kingdom? Question number 3. The book Two Tribes was written about the Liverpool derby. Which Scouse band wrote the song? The book Two Tribes was written about the Liverpool derby. Which Scouse band wrote the song? John Babb asks, why wasn't there a question about Kettering tyres? That's more niche than I thought. We'll try and work Kettering tyres into a future quiz. And question number 5: which two teams contest a derby either end of the A52? Which two teams contest a derby at either end of the A52? And that is the final question of the entire quiz. So I'll give you a few seconds just to work that one out, work those questions out. Then we'll do the last 10 answers and we'll get our winners. Can you repeat the last question? Repeat the last round, says Pete Carville. Well, I'll do it very quickly. 10 derbies. Sorry, round number 10 is derbies. Jason Guy has said, oh, he's right. In fact, lots of you are right. Question number 4 is missing. You're quite right. Don't worry. I'll come back to that. The question number 4 in the derbies is missing. Here it is. Who contests the game between the Scummers and the Skates? Who contests the game between the Scummers and the Skates? Thank God there's live chat in this. Thanks, Jason. There's Richie Gillam and others for reminding me that I missed question 4. So I'll give you all the questions of round number 10 again. Just to clear it up, my mistake. For first edition of this quiz, very scratchy, rough around the edges. Question number 1 in the final round, which is derbies. Who contests the M23 derby? Question number 2, which derby is the geographically closest in the UK? Question 3, the book Two Tribes was written about the Liverpool derby. Which Scouse band wrote the song? Question 4, who contests the game between the Scummers and the Skates? Who contests the derby between the Scummers and the Skates? And the final question, which teams on the A52 contest the derby? Who are the two teams on the A52? Right. Is that sorted? I think so. Can someone just reply yes on the live chat to say everyone's happy? And I'll take that as gospel for everyone else. Yes, thank you. Nice one. Right. So the answers in the final 2 rounds, shirt sponsors and derbies. Number 1, name Leeds United's shirt sponsors when they won the 91-92 league title. The Yorkshire Evening Post. Yorkshire Evening Post. Manchester City sponsors last season were Etihad. I'll accept Etihad Airways or any derivative of the company Etihad. Name the local tyre factory who sponsored Wolves in the 1990s. That was Goodyear. Goodyear tyres. Question 4, who were Blackburn Rovers sponsors when they won the 94-95 league title? McEwen's Lager. The 94-95 title winners, Blackburn Rovers, were sponsored by McEwen's Lager. And number 5, the Danish processed ham company, who sponsored Everton in the 1980s was Hafnia. Hafnia sponsored Everton. Shout out to James Kent and Joe Parker, who are engaging in their own private bants chat on the live chat. Good lads, thanks for playing and getting involved. And the final round, round number 10, derbies. Who contests the M23 derby? That's Brighton and Crystal Palace. Brighton and Crystal Palace. Which derby is geographically the closest in the UK? That, of course, is the Dundee derby. The Dundee derby is the closest derby in Britain's professional football leagues. The book Two Tribes was written about the Liverpool derby. Which Scouse band wrote the song? Frankie Goes to Hollywood is the answer to that one. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I'll try and incorporate more music into this quiz going forward, just to vary it up. Question number 4. Who contests the game between the Scummers and the Skates? The answer is Southampton and Portsmouth. Southampton and Portsmouth contest the game between the Scummers and the Skates. And question number 5. The A52 derby is contested between Derby County and Nottingham Forest. So they're all the answers. That's all 50 questions. The winner for the Heroes of Waterloo was Greeny last week. He scored 32 out of 50, but we're discounting that because it was a really, really good score and probably not representative of the sort of scores you're going to be getting. So behind Greeny on 24 points, if you've got more than 24 points, you're a big winner. And you Banzai and Flan got 24 points for the Heroes last week. So anyone with 24, 25 or more is flying. James Wynn is 34 out of 50. Crikey, he'd have beaten Greeny as well. Brilliant. And Michael Adamson, 32 out of 50. He'd have leveled up with him. Loads of you on good scores. Jack Baxter, 26 out of 50. Neil Smith on 27 out of 50. Pro Kids on 26 out of 50. Richard Gillam, 19 out of 45. Fair play. Well, that's an odd one. Was he just pulled out after 9 rounds? But fair play for playing, Rich. So that's the first ever quiz. Sorry if it was a bit rough around the edges, but we'll do this every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Russ Taylor gets 27 points plus Wick Academy. Are you kidding me? You lose a point for that. 26 points for Russ Taylor. We'll do this every Tuesday at 9 o'clock if the interest is there. Actually, I'll do it anyway. And all I can ask is that you share this quiz around with as many people as you know. Come up with a hashtag for it, lockdown football quiz or something. Just get the word out there. We'll get more and more people playing. But thanks for getting involved. And have a good week. Let me know what you've been up to. And then we'll be back here at Billy McGinty, 26 out of 50. I like to think he scored well. He is the executive producer of Premier League football at Sky Sports. Well done, Billy. 26 out of 50. But yeah, get on board for next week and encourage more people to get involved as well. If you've got a wide circle of friends or large WhatsApp groups or loads and loads of social media followers, just get involved. And that's brilliant. So thanks for that. Also, this quiz is going to be, if I press the right button, this quiz will be saved onto the YouTube channel so you can tell people they can play it, watch it in the week on catch up or whatever YouTube videos are called. But anyway, thanks very much for playing. I've loved reading all your messages and we'll see you next week.